Yep, it's that time of the month again. I'm about to show you the most brutal and best upcoming games in all of December. Part 1. Part 2 drops in the middle of September. Now, let's go. We're starting this video off strong, in the vein of some Wolfenstein-like boom shooting. Let me present to you Only Lead Can Stop Them. A game where you take on the role as a soldier during the Spanish Civil War, fighting to defend the Republic from being crushed by opposing fascist forces. Now, it might look rather simplistic at first, and yeah, well, the core of the game is. The rest of it is not. There is 30 levels that spans over 3 different campaigns, a ton of weapons, distinct enemies beautifully animated and rendered in pixel form, and some story and lore to follow along with. Now the game has a demo out that you can play right now, and oh boy have I played it. More than once actually. It's a meaty demo that gives a real good taste of what the full game is going to be like. And I love it. It's very crunchy, has some great animations all around, from enemies to weapons, interesting levels loaded with secrets to discover, and a banging soundtrack to go along with it. So if you're reaching for some real old school boom shooting action, this will scratch that itch on December the 9th. Ha! I love how this looks. It's like blending that space trucking game with that anomaly race driving game and blending some first-person shooting into the mix. Freaking lovely. Now Cybertaxi Lunatic Nights is a free-roam taxi driving simulator set in a dark noir prison city. And as a cab driver, you have to find your wrongfully accused sister and rescue her from this dystopian city facility. You get to complete unique missions, defeat lurking thugs, and maintain your fuel level. Succeed. Now that actually doesn't sound all too exciting, so let me explain a little bit further how the game actually works. So missions etc, they will be handed to you by your customers. Each person that you drive will always ask you to do some absurd crazy shit like finding a cat in an old church or mow down some thugs. And weapons wise, you can customize your taxi with a ton of different weapons and armor pieces as well as your own hands. I mean, jumping out of the taxi and fire off a shell or two will be required in this game. Now the open world in this game might not be the most advanced that you have ever seen, but it's filled with minigames, Easter eggs and just outright fun things to do. And it's also loaded with collectibles and loot to hunt down. Overall, I just think it sounds and looks freaking great. I love these out-of-the-box games, and this can be played on December the 16th. So sorry for interrupting the show, but I need to let you know that on December the 14th, the Indie FPS of the Year 2024 is happening. It's gonna happen on this YouTube channel, 6 PM CEST, Central European Time, and it's gonna feature 25 of the most amazing first-person shooter games in all of 2024. It's gonna feature over 70 upcoming games that you haven't heard of before, and it's also gonna have some of the best people in the world that you can communicate with during the showcase. And of course, it's gonna be loaded with giveaways, so don't miss out on it. And you can join the Discord right now, link down in the description, and cast your votes for the best FPS games of 2024 right now.
Orders received. High Command has a hostage exchange agreement with Havoc. We need to escort Dr. Prometheus to the new Tower of Babel. It is a matter of rescuing our troops.
Yeah, I know, this is a AAA shooter, I know, but hear me out. There is one particular thing that has me very excited for this game. Now, in its core, this is a free-to-play PvP game. It will feature an extraction mode and a big-scale warfare battlefield-like mode. Sure, sounds good and all, but we have seen so many games try to do this and fail, that my hopes they aren't too high. That said though, I didn't play it during its testing week. But those who did almost only had positive things to say about it. It looks great, it runs great, and it feels great apparently. But here comes the thing that has me mega excited for this game. And that is the third mode of the game. It is a full-blown remake of the legendary Delta Force Black Hawk Down campaign. I remember playing the crap out of it back in the day, but I haven't touched it since then. So consider me extremely excited to test it out. With all the modern fancy pansies on it on December the 5th. Did anyone say that they wanted a proper Vampire Survivors meets Boomer shooter in first-person view? Huh? I couldn't hear you. Well, I sure as hell did say that. And this game provides. BloodShed is exactly what I just mentioned, and it nails it extremely well. And how do I know? Well, there is a demo out that you can play right now that clearly shows this. It's got different characters with different attributes, a ton of weapons and abilities to unlock. Hell, it even has auto fire that can be turned off in the settings, which personally I recommend doing. It's just a lot more fun with it off, in my opinion. Now, the level that we can play in the demo has a goal of surviving for 20 minutes, and that is it. It does gradually get harder as we kill, we level up, upgrading our weapons or unlocking magic abilities. However, I do not know how many new maps, new characters, weapons, abilities or objectives will be in this first version of Early Access that releases on the 12th of December. But I do know that I intend to find out with a live stream simply because the game looks, sounds and plays awesome.
You can't just run away from your problems, Indiana.
Watch me.
Well, would you look at that? Another AAA game in this indie video, huh? Well, it's my third AAA game that I'm actually hyped for in the past 3 years or so. The first one was Stalker 2, which dropped last month, and the second one is Delta Force that drops on December the 5th. And of course, the third one is Indiana Jones, developed by Machine Games from Sweden, who brought us the modern Wolfenstein games. Say what you will about them, they are great shooters, well optimized and fun, and nothing can take that away from them, okay? So naturally, I am extremely hyped for the next game, even though that Indiana Jones won't play anything like Wolfenstein. So how will Indy play? Well, after watching every gameplay trailer that there is, gameplay information, etc, etc, I can pretty confidently say that it will play like Uncharted in first person, but with even more stealth and puzzling segments than you get from Uncharted. There won't be any AK-47 shootouts or rocket launcher fights where you have to take down armored guys. It will be more traversing the environment, solving puzzles, using stealth and of course some combat with your whip and revolver, but it's going to be a lot more one-on-one than you versus 30 guys. And you guys know that I love my hectic actions, but nonetheless I think that this looks great, and it can be a perfect tempo and environment change after a weekend of boom shooting on the 9th of December, which is on a Monday right after that boom shooting weekend. The boomer shooter that was said to be releasing in the second quarter of 2024. The game that still has that written on its Steam page. The game that looks absolutely amazing with its pixels blended into modern freshness. Yes, I'm talking about M.E.A.T Absolute Zero. And it is actually finally dropping on the 13th of December. But is it dropping into early access or full release? Honestly, I don't know, but I guess we will find out, huh? Now, what is M.E.A.T apart from a superb looking boomer shooter? Well, let me give you a short description from its page. It goes something like this. M.E.A.T Absolute Zero is a first-person shooter representing the so-called boomer shooter genre. Keeping with the spirit of the series, maintains a pixel art graphical style referring to retro games. At the same time, the game is enriched with additional solutions, thanks to which you can also feel a breath of gaming freshness. The whole game is permeated with an awe-inspiring, even brutal atmosphere, dark locations, enemies taken straight out of nightmarish visions, and finally, some heavy motherflipping music. All this completes the final effect, which will certainly not leave you indifferent. And the same thing goes for the plot, following the first part of the M.E.A.T series. And all of that sounds pretty freaking neat if you ask me. I know for a fact that this game is littered with secrets, bosses, tons of loot, absolute insane amount of enemies, which is something I truly love. Oh, mama, one of the most gorgeous looking games in all of 2024. Voin, my friends, screams of so much personality in its art that it's freaking unbelievable. I haven't really seen anything quite like it from a solo developer before. And what I mean is that not only does it look great and has a ton of unique design ideas going for it, but everything is done with such freaking passion. Even the upgrade rooms in the hub area screams of power in a way you wouldn't expect it to. And we won't just be running around looking at things in this game. Oh no, there will be plenty of fighting as well. So Voin is built in a super cool way. It's a roguelike in a sense that you level up and find more powerful gear to be able to get further into the game and beat new zones. Now the new zones are relatively big open world areas with a ton of different quests, enemies to kill, objectives to finish, bosses to kill and things to explore. And I really mean things to explore. If you think that you can't go there, you probably can. You just have to find the right way to do it. And it does have a demo up right now featuring the hefty tutorial area and the first open world zone. That zone is hell of a lot larger than you would think for a demo. It also features a ton of weapons, items and upgrades to unlock, and that's another aspect of the game that is outright amazing. The weapons, they feel great. It's through and through a melee game, a slasher, but it feels so good slashing away with yet again some weapons that looks incredibly powerful and unique. Now honestly, I can't recommend enough that you either go and give the demo a spin right away or test it out on December the 10th in early access. Now this one actually took me by huge surprise. I've known of it for quite a long time, but it never really caught my interest too much thanks to its black and white and very simplistic pixel art. But the publisher was kind enough to give me some early access to it, so I figured hell, I'll give it a spin. And oh boy, this game is addicting as all living hell. It's smooth, it's actually gorgeous with its variety in its simplicity. There's unlockables in the form of weapons and power-ups. There's bosses that once killed gives you permanent upgrades. There is loot to collect, there is platforming puzzles to solve, and all of it in a very simplistic, nothing goes very deep nor will require a lot of thinking way. It's extremely easy to pick up and drop out of whenever and however you feel like on December the 9th. Aliens have invaded planet DOS and are wreaking havoc upon the population. It is up to DOSMan and a colorful cast of hilarious, incompetent characters to beat them back and restore order to the once peaceful planet. Yes, this developer is known for more simplistic and bite-sized games, so your eyes are not deceiving you. This is a more simple game, but it also seems like for each game that they release, they take it one step further, improving on the pixel art, amping up the music, adding more ways to catch on to the story, and overall just creating better and better experiences. Now, I've said it before and I'll say it again, I love me a good bite-sized shooter over the weekend. And the games I've played so far from DOSMan games, they have yet to disappoint in that regard. So let's see if we can save mankind from the aliens on December the 13th. And thank you a million times for watching all the way to the end. Broski, you freaking rock, and it means the world to me that you're still here. Now, if you liked what you saw, remember to hit the like and subscribe for a ton more like this. And please do remember that Papa Slim loves ya. Over and out.